Hi guys, it's Julie from cookedbyjulie.com. Hope you guys are having an amazing day. I made this delicious creamy garlic salmon and shrimp last night, and usually I wait a couple of days before sharing the recipe, but this morning I thought no, they need this like now. So let's get started. The first thing you want to do is warm some oil in a large skillet over high heat. You want the skillet very hot to get a nice sear on the salmon. I like to season the salmon generously with kosher salt and pepper on all sides. I even do the sides. And you want to season the shrimp with salt and pepper as well. The exact recipe, written instructions, and more detail on this recipe will be over on my website, cookedbyjulie.com. You can, of course, just make this with salmon and omit the shrimp, or you can use a whitefish, whatever you'd like. While you season the fish and shrimp, your skillet should be nice and hot. Make sure not to use olive oil. Olive oil has a low smoking point. I like to cook the salmon skin side down for about 3 minutes on each side. Now, if you want the skin to be super crispy, you can add about a teaspoon of all-purpose flour and that will crisp it up, and it will also help thicken the sauce later on. I don't think that's necessary, so I don't do it. Make sure not to overcook your salmon. Of course, salmon can be super dry when it's overcooked, so keep that in mind. About 3 minutes later, I flipped it over. The top is pretty cold, so you're not going to burn yourself. Once you're done cooking the salmon on each side, you want to remove it from the skillet and remove any excess oil. You should keep about 2 tablespoons. Reduce the heat to low. Go ahead and add the onions and cook them until they're translucent. It should take about 2 minutes. Then you want to add fresh garlic and red crushed pepper flakes, although the red crushed pepper flakes is completely optional. I always add extra oil or butter if I see my onions soaked up most of the oil. There is nothing wrong with that. Just add a little butter or extra oil if you'd like. I poured in some white wine. Make sure to use a dry wine. You don't want to use a sweet wine for this. You're going to increase the heat to medium-high and let the wine reduce by half. That should take about 5 minutes. Go ahead and add the cream. Give everything a good stir. Add some fresh Parmesan cheese. For those of you who don't enjoy seafood with cheese, you're still going to enjoy this, I promise. You don't really taste the Parmesan. You mostly taste the garlic, if anything. The Parmesan cheese helps thicken the sauce, so that's good. Season this cream sauce with salt and pepper. You want to place the salmon back in the skillet. I don't sear the shrimp for this dish only because shrimp cook really quickly, so I just toss them in raw. Make sure they're very dry so they don't release any water. I like to leave the tails on for 2 reasons, because 1, they appear bigger to your guests, and 2, a lot of flavor and garlic chunks tend to hide in the shell. I also added some fresh spinach. I then covered it, reduced the heat to medium-low, and let the sauce thicken and the shrimp and salmon completely cook. I simmered it for about 10 minutes. Now the reason why the shrimp take a little longer to cook is only because the cream sauce was still kind of cold when I tossed the shrimp in, so it takes the shrimp a little longer than usual to cook. If the cream sauce were boiling, then the shrimp would have cooked in a minute, if that makes sense. In total, the salmon shouldn't cook longer than 16 minutes or else it can dry up. Be careful with that. Make sure to season the sauce well with salt and pepper. I serve this with basmati rice. You can serve it over mashed potatoes or vegetables. Next time I plan on throwing in some crab meat. This was incredible. I'm super excited to be sharing this recipe. Make sure to follow me on Instagram and Facebook. I'm super active on social media. Make sure to let me know if you do make this, and I want to thank you guys so much for watching.